Hey, everybody. It's your lovely Lotus Blossom, Lizzie. In this video, I'm going to share with you my harvest for April. I had a lot of fun gardening this month. The weather has been quite enjoyable, and I have to say, I'm very proud of myself for being able to harvest anything this early in the season. So I wanted to share that all with you, but not only am I sharing the things that I have been picking, I'm also going to show you how I process some of the harvest. So get your coffee out or your wine, sit back and enjoy. And I also like to know down in the comments, what have you harvested for the month of April? All right, everybody, enjoy. I have to say, what enabled me to be able to have an early harvest is purchasing some starts. And also, I had quite a few volunteer plants that popped up. When I first started and I was watching lots of videos from people, I was always so envious of those who had volunteer plants that just popped up out of the ground without them knowing, and they just popped up in, those unexplained spots. And that actually happened to me as well. And I'm learning that's what happens when you let your plants go to seed. They're everywhere because the animals will pick them up. And then, of course, they do their poopies everywhere and poop your plants places. So the birds and the interlopers, they just have a ball. So this year, I did purchase stevia starts. I tried starting them from seeds last year, and I didn't really try that hard. But this year, I decided to pick some stevia up, and it was already kind of fully grown, and it had a few plants in it. So I split those up into 2 bunches, and I was able to harvest off of those almost right away. I also had a ton of basil. I have basil still popping up everywhere, and I love basil, so that's not really an issue for me. And you can see here in my radish patch, I was able to just have a whole mess of radishes that I would be able to eat as well. I think harvesting is one of my most favorite things to do. But sometimes when I'm harvesting things, I have to question myself if they're ready or not. So these strawberries, I wasn't sure if they were ready. I already took a strawberry off and it wasn't that sweet. So I was thinking maybe I should leave that strawberry on for just a smidge longer so it could build up some sweetness. And I'm glad I did. This sage right here, I wouldn't say it's a volunteer from last year, but it is a holdover from last year. So it kind of overwintered itself. Me being in Florida, that almost doesn't sound right for me to say overwintering. Because we don't really have those winter months. And sometimes that's a little sad, but sometimes it's not. And again, we got more basil. Y'all, I put basil in everything. It just tastes so delicious. And I also use it when I would put something on a cracker, like tuna fish. I would use a basil leaf, and I like that a lot better. Y'all, look at all this wonderful loot. It is so beautiful. And again, I was so amazed that I had so much that I could harvest already. I love my garden so much. Y'all, look at all that beautiful harvest. So we have some radishes, we have some stevia, sage, and basil. I also got my first tomato and a banana pepper, which is the first one for this season, and a jalapeno. Now the fun begins. Now I have to process all this wonderful garden loot that I have. So I washed everything well, and now I am de-stemming everything. I am processing my plant babies that I got out the garden today. And this is basil, and then we have stevia, we have some sage, and then also we have some radishes. So these are going to be processed differently. Everything else is going to go into the dehydrator. So I took the trays out of my Excalibur dehydrator and I loaded everything up, but I ended up actually taking them off and redoing them because I wanted to put a mat down over the tray so things wouldn't fall through, if that makes sense. I also took some items out of my refrigerator that were about to go bad, and they were still pretty fresh actually, and that was some celery and some zucchini, and I chopped everything up, and also some carrots to dehydrate those as well. I figure I'm already dehydrating some of these items, so I might as well go ahead and load up the dehydrator. I processed the radishes a bit differently. I shredded them up and pickled them along with a jar of red onions as well. So y'all, what you hear in the background is my Excalibur, and I'm about to take some of the things that I dehydrated out, and I just wanted to show you. So I started this yesterday. They've been going for quite a few hours. Some of them they were kind of dry yesterday, but I just left them in. It's not gonna hurt anything. So I'm gonna show you what they look like. I always take the drawer off kind of carefully. The stuff will fly out, and I turned it off. Okay, these are celery. Looks like some of them may have fell. That's the celery leaves. We're gonna let those cool off. We have our zucchini chips and carrots. Those are dry. Then we have some basil. It kind of just came all here to the middle, but they were all on the edges. And another celery drawer. Oh, we got stevia and a few basil leaves here on the end that kind of went down. And we have some sage. And then I also have some berries in here, and they are not dry. And they're probably gonna take 10 years to dry. They're still quite moist, so I'm gonna put these back in. I actually turned this on a higher heat for that fruit because I was drying mostly leafy things and I had it on real low. So it was on 105, so I turned it up to 135 to see if we could get the berries to dry a little bit quicker. Some of my stevia and basil got mixed. It's hard to tell the leaves from the other leaves, so I'm gonna have to be careful about that, because now I'm gonna be putting some stevia in something that only needs basil. It's not that much of a mix, but what I did was I actually tasted the leaves, y'all, the stevia leaves. This is the first time that I've grown and also that I've dried stevia leaves. And I tasted them. Just when I say a smidge, I tasted a smidge, and it is so sweet, and it doesn't have an aftertaste like the store-bought stevia. So I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna put these all in jars now. So this is the stevia, and I'm gonna mark all of these jars. This one is a sage. We have some carrots and some celery. And I just kind of added to this jar. I already had some basil in here, but I use it for everything. So the jar is now full again, but it won't be because I use it on everything. And we mustn't forget to mark everything, because I've done that before. And when you're doing lots of leafy things, you get things mixed up if they're not marked. Yay, got a few beans. Y'all probably got this many beans off my plants the whole time they were alive last year. So the bean patch has started producing, and those beans look fantastic. I'm also gonna take a few of these leaves off. I cut the tops off, so I'm gonna dehydrate these, and y'all know I'm gonna use these. I have some that I had from last year that I dehydrated. I'm still using those, but I'm gonna. Y'all, I'm proud of myself. I got some beautiful mustard greens. They have minimal damage on them, so something that I learned this year, because this is my first year growing mustard, is to cover them if you can. So I might work on doing a more permanent type of structure that I can use year after year to keep the bugs at bay. But overall, this is like my first mustard green harvest. So y'all, this is good enough for a meal. But I might give these to my mom because she's been looking for mustard greens. So I'm going to clean these and I'm going to cut them up. With my beans, I picked some every day, just a few. Some I put in the freezer, some I cooked right away, and they are really delicious. And then sometimes you win and sometimes you lose when it comes to the strawberries. I had a little bit of slug damage here. Overall, it was a really good harvest. And again, I would love to know, are you harvesting things from your garden already? Please let me know in the comments. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, you really want to do so, because I'll be sharing more content just like this. So I hope you all enjoyed, because I enjoyed sharing. So until next time, my garden tools, bye.